Hello, nonprofit leaders. I'm Sarah Olivieri, your host, and this podcast is here to assist people like you, executive directors, board members, and other nonprofit leaders make a bigger impact with insights, tips, and lessons learned from nonprofit leaders and experts. Having been an executive director, a board member, and now a consultant and coach, I truly understand the challenges you face. And that's why I'm here. I'm all about working smarter, not harder, so you can make a bigger impact without the burnout. And so is our sponsor, DonorBox. DonorBox isn't just a suite of helpful fundraising tools, it's a partner that helps you raise more money and supports you in retaining your donors. I love their forward-thinking approach. Visit donorbox.org to learn more. And don't forget to sign up for the Inspired Nonprofit Leadership newsletter, where you'll get bite-sized, actionable tips just for nonprofit leaders like you, delivered weekly to your inbox. Sign up at inspirednonprofitleadership.com/sign up. Okay, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, nonprofit leaders. Are short-term pressures, things from your board, from your funders, maybe your staff, keeping you from focusing on your nonprofit's long-term goals? If so, that's exactly what I want to talk about today. And in the next few minutes, I'll be showing you how to balance those immediate needs with those longer-term goals that help you make a lasting impact. So, first, I want to acknowledge that this is a real challenge, right? And it's because I think, especially in the nonprofit space, we are helpers, right? Are you a helper? Probably. Ask yourself, are you a helper type? Probably the answer is yes. And when we're helpers, especially when people come to us with a need for support in some way, it's our natural instinct to say, yes, I'm going to help you. Also, when people who have a certain amount of authority type power or influential power over us, like a major donor or board members, we get nervous. What if we don't do what they are asking us to do, right? I better just do what they say, or they'll somehow use their power against me. So we have these very strong emotional responses to these short term pressures and needs from board members, funders, and staff as well. Sometimes it's clients, but usually it falls into one of those uh, buckets. So, what I want to reframe for you is to kind of flip the script in your head. What your funders want, what your board members want is to have you as an organization and your staff too, if they're are the right fit staff. They want you to be working as efficiently and effectively as possible towards achieving your mission. If you have board members who don't want that, if you have funders who don't want that, they should not be on your board. They should not be donating to you, right? If you have staff members who don't want that, they should not be on your staff. That's a team issue. Who's on your team? But assuming that they do, when they come to you with an idea, hey, we should do this, or hey, can you do that? They actually will prefer it if they're asking you to do something that actually gets in the way of you making the biggest impact possible in the most effective, efficient way. It is a kindness. It is what they want you to do to say no. To say, and you don't need to be like, no, I'm not doing that. You're going to say something like, actually, I'm not able to give you that report that you're asking for because if I do, it will take me away from our high priority project according to our strategic plan. And then you could offer something else, right? I could give you something else to review, or I'll add that into the list of reports that we're going to add next time we go through our report review session or whatever that is, right? So think about taking a pause on your first response just to please the person on the other end who's putting pressure on you. Ask yourself, what's the best thing for the organization? And then respond with what the best thing is. All right, let's get more nuts and bolts for a second about balancing those short term things with those long term things. And that is one of the reasons why I created the impact method, because too many times we have these long term strategic plans and they're separate. Oftentimes, they even live like in a PDF or a printout and they end up going on somebody's shelf. And you can do that because they are not integrally connected to our short-term action work plans. So when in the impact method, what we do is we do our strategic planning every 2 months. We call it like a 2-month strategic cycle. And then part of that planning process, we update our goals and then we create a work plan for those 2 months. And then we have these tactical cycles, these tactical check-ins where we check in on our work plan. And the work plan is like digitally connected to the strategic plan. You can't separate them. Like you physically can't separate them. And because you're revisiting both so frequently, nobody forgets about them. And by doing that, we solve part of this problem. We're not trying to balance short term priorities with long term goals. We are creating short term priorities to achieve our long term goals, right? And let me say that again. We're not trying to balance short term priorities with long term goals. We are actually creating short term priorities to achieve our long term goals. And when our to do lists are filled with activities that achieve priorities that help us achieve our long term goals, it becomes a lot easier to say, I'm not going to deviate from my path and do something else because I already know that everything on my to do list was planned and designed with my team, even not just me, to make the biggest impact possible. And so by doing something else instead, I'm actually going to make less of an impact. So I'm not going to do that. All right. So this is really, really key. All right. Last thing that I want to share with you that's really key for getting those short term priorities to achieve those long term goals, and then having people, not just you having to say no, but having a whole team involved for so that everybody stays on track, has to do with when we start making the plan, right? We want to not just communicate the plan to our team, that's good. But if we get buy in by building the plan with our team, everybody's excited. Everybody had a voice. Everybody had an opportunity and has an ongoing opportunity. So in the impact method, the staff is giving information that influences plan every week in their staff meetings. And sometimes they're in the planning work, but they know that the issues that they're bringing up are getting input into the plan every 2 months. So even if they're not in the planning room, they know that their voice has been heard and incorporated frequently into that. And that if their issue didn't get resolved this time, it'll probably get resolved next time. So when we have the team involved with creating the plan and then we communicate how, what this plan is and how it's addressing the needs of the organization, we have buy-in. And when we have buy-in, and then if we have a add to that buy-in alone is great. A lot of people just stop there. But if we add to that buy-in, right? And let's be specific. Buy-in means people know what the plan is and they agree that it's a good plan and they want the plan to come true. If we combine that buy-in with a culture of holding each other accountable to the plan, a culture of sticking to the plan, a culture of saying, I got distracted, let me bring myself back on track. Or, hey, I know like you're getting distracted, bring yourself back on track. Then we have a powerful plan. We have short term priorities that get us to our long term goals. And we can let go of that tension around either or. And we can let go of that feeling like, oh, we never keep making our long-term goals because we're always putting out fires. We're always playing that whack-a-mole game in our nonprofits where we can't seem to get all the balls down and achieve our goals. If you would like tips delivered like these to your email inbox, you can go to inspirednonprofitleadership.com/sign up. That is how I send out weekly tips to folks. If you aren't already listening to the Inspired Nonprofit Leadership podcast, you can check that out at inspirednonprofitleadership.com/. Until next time, all the best.
You've been listening to Inspired Nonprofit Leadership. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode or the bonus episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review and be sure to share with your friends and colleagues. Tune in every week for more useful insights and wisdom on nonprofit leadership. Thanks so much for all you do for the communities you serve. Until next time, all the best.